Okay, I have 4:30. I will call the March 13th meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Evansville Vanderburgh Public Library to order. First order of business is correspondence, which is circling among board members now. I've viewed it prior to the meeting beginning or read it, and always appreciate when folks send in written correspondence. We always get a lot of email and everything, and that is much appreciated, but when somebody has taken the time to handwrite a note to the board and to the staff, their appreciation of the library, it means a little bit extra, so I appreciate that. Welcome to staff and visitors. Oh, no, is there anyone from the public? No one's asked to speak, right? No request to speak. With that, we'll begin with the consent agenda. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items on the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion. So
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. The motion carries. Next item is governance. And we have one item there is a recommendation for the project of the general obligation bond. Heather?
Well, technically, it's mostly from you guys, but this is from the Building and Grounds Committee. And upon our recommendation, we would like to continue moving forward with our facilities master plan. And as our next project, we have long been hoping to bring this one up, is the EVPL Red Bank, either renovation or rebuild on the same property and in the same space that it currently is. It does say up to instead of a final figure, because we are still researching and looking at the options of renovating an addition and adding an addition onto the existing building, or potentially doing a rebuild entirely on that same site. So we will continue to pursue those options in the time that it takes us to pursue and hopefully receive this approval for bonding.
Yeah, I think last meeting of the Building and Grounds Committee, it was either the 24th or 27th of February. We went through all of these matters and landed at this place. So, and all three board members were in attendance at that meeting.
Correct. This is very similar to what we did with Oakland, where we brought an up to amount. And then by the time that we bonded for Oakland, that amount had come down significantly by the time we actually knew better cost estimates and what the scope of the work truly was going to be. So it will be much in that same vein.
And you may recall at the last meeting also, it's also in the minutes that we approved the director signing the contract to purchase the parcel of land that was between our two parcels of land out there. So with that should be finalized now as well.
Has that closed?
I don't know if they
Real estate
closed
work
on
is
the
closed.
property
We haven't
yet.
closed, not yet, because there's still some studies, I think, that are going to be done before the final close. Is that correct?
We have a survey being
Yeah.
done.
Survey,
Yeah,
By Morley.
but not environmental.
It probably is environmental.
I think
think
it
it
includes
is, yeah.
environmental.
Yeah, I think so.
That could kill the whole project. It came back bad.
So it could kill that piece of land potentially. Technically, this project, the way that we're looking at it, is going to use mostly the existing space and might only go a little bit onto that. So we could probably still be good. But it would be a factor for sure as we went forward.
Where it still has a contingency out there, should we wait a month before we approve the proceeding with the bonding?
So what you're doing right now, it is already putting us close to the amount of time that we need for that bond, because it is a controlled bond this time. It takes longer and we have to give more waiting periods. So we need to sort of be moving toward that. So right now, if you approve this as a project, the determination, the initial preliminary determination hearing would be in April.
But there would still be a possibility later on, if these came back bad, that we could say, we don't want to proceed any further.
Correct. There's
Absolutely.
plenty of time and up until, yes.
And the way I looked at it was that we're approving posting for this and moving forward with the
Correct.
possibility, but we always have, we're not approving any spending at this point.
Yes, yes.
Beyond what was
Yes.
approved for the.
Yeah,
Right.
starting the process, and we can pull back and change it at any given place, but that allows us this time period to work through those.
And the up to amount is
12 million.
I'll entertain a motion.
I would move to accept the recommendation of the Building and Grounds Committee that we authorize the postings for the financing of the 12 million GO bond for the renovation of Red Bank. As
I
outlined.
second. Oh, I thought you're done.
Got it. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further conversation or questions?
What would the timeline be from this point on? How long till we actually get approval for the bonding?
I got a
Or go ahead
question.
With the design?
Is this involving the bond? Can someone make a motion online on a bond motion?
They can't. do
No,
anything. They can't. They're
Oh.
not here.
Sorry.
sorry.
Here we go.
Good.
The bonding timeline, do you have that in front of you? I can.
The
pull it up.
bonding and design, and basically, when are we gonna like break ground on this?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, long time from
A
now.
year?
Yeah, well, we would bond later this year, so we wouldn't even start that construction until next year.
And that design has to come at some point in there.
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
So a year plus.
So the target right now, all goes accordingly, for the first portion of the, bonding process. We would be selling the bonds in the fall, this fall, October, November, like we have in the past years. And then it would be after the bonds sold that we would then move forward with design and, I mean, we'll be talking about it and looking at the concept, but
Correct. Currently,
It's gonna be like the Oakland project, so it'll probably be bidding sometime this time next year, April timeframe.
earlier if we're lucky, so they could start in.
We
the
were hoping
spring.
that
Yeah,
would start,
yeah.
soon, but yeah, April and then,
Something always happens.
oh,
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Same sign opposed. The motion carries. We are now ready for the finance report. Lori, the report of appropriations.
for the month ending February 28th, 2025, we had an appropriation budget balance of $15,044,414.14, or approximately 87% of the original budget with encumbrances left for the remaining 10 months. And under investments, we had a balance for all four funds that are invested in our Trust Indiana our state investment pool of $14,046,300. Average daily yield for February is 4.3433, or down 0.0472% since January, and 4.3799 average daily yield year to date, and that was down from January of 0.3%.
And we're now ready for the approval of bills. Member Musgrave?
Yes. For the month just ending, we had a total of $707,330.67 in total non-payroll invoices. And we've had two payrolls in that month, 369,044.14 for the payroll on February 7, and 529,877.06 for the one ending on February 21. I would recommend that they all be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Same sign opposed. The motion carries. We're now ready for other business. Item number 7A, North Park renovation project change order number 5.
Okay, so we have change order number 5 for North Park. If you notice, the dates on there are back in January because that's when the majority of this was happening. This is just officially passing through the board now, but because it just got billed, it was held up for making sure we had all the I's dotted, T's crossed, all the items on there. But we're getting a couple of credits on there for reusing existing circuits, some credits for some isolators up on the air handler on the roof. We are paying for some pattern match on the upholstery. we had a couple of power and data circuits and we had to rework the lighting control panel. So change order number 5 with the credits and then what they asked for is a net total of $1,087.
Would entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments or discussion?
Is there any way we can do a de minimis change that we don't have to vote on? But if it's less than
Sounds like a legal question.
$1,100.
I didn't hear we can't hear down here.
Is it possible that we can begin doing a de minimis change order so that it's less than a certain amount of money, it doesn't need to come to the board? Or do we have to vote on every one of them?
I think-
1,087 sounds like 1/10 of 1% of the total project.
Yeah.
I just wonder about the State Board of Accounts and having the authority to,
Yeah, not my
for them
problem.
to pay that. It's not your problem, but it would be Lori's problem.
Lori can handle it.
It actually does have to be, but we are approving these post signature, post transactional. So it's just
Approved, it's been done
ratifying.
already.
Yeah, it's just ratifying them. But yes, that does have to be done.
I don't wonder if what you're saying though, Bob, if that is something we could consider under the consent agenda. If it's below a certain amount, we would just consider them as consent. I mean,
That would still get a vote on it, yes.
and we still get a vote on it, but they're not individual items that would come unless they were of a
Why
certain
don't we have
amount.
council look into that, make sure it's not a problem? We'll come back
Well,
next week.
I think you probably could do that, but I think money items, in the past, a lot of times the board gets,
Things.
concerned that they're not seeing what's happening. So
Let's leave it
Yeah,
the way
so
it
if we
is.
go to consent, okay.
Yeah.
We,
All right.
we do bring all of these items, and again, not to the whole board, but to building and grounds. We bring up these change orders every time.
And when they're presented, I mean, I've gotten calls from Scott on
Mhm.
these.
Yes.
So
Oh, you have to approve a certain level.
certain
Yeah,
level.
a
Yep.
year ago, we went through this process, and if it's 10% or less, then Scott reaches out to the board president. If it is more than 10%, then he reaches out to the president, vice president, and treasurer.
Yep. I think we're good.
10% of the total project.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further comments, questions?
no.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion carries. Lamont, I think you have item 7B, the
Sure. do.
change order number 2 for central renovation project.
Yes, sir. So here at Central, we are turning in change order number 2. And we have, during construction, come across a couple of items that we wanted to have fixed. So we got quotes on them and deemed those being necessary for up in our outreach office, doing a large, it used to be our talking books. So it had a large window at the front that if you were walking by, you could hear every conversation happening on the other side of the wall. And so we had the wall filled in, so there's no window there anymore, and it makes it a more private office on the other side. The biggest change is the vestibule hardware. As you remember in the bid, we did ask for an add deduct for adding sliding doors to our facility, and we did not take that add. So we do still need to do some work on the front doors to secure our facility. And so we have a quote for repairing all that hardware on all of our exterior doors of $47,650. Then we had a couple of cover plates that we were changing from plastic cover plates over to stainless steel. So the total net change would be $53,805.
I don't seem to have that.
Item 7B is not in your,
It's on the back side of that, I think.
printed on both sides.
Go back past the Danco
Past the
documents.
Danco?
Mhm.
I think it's the one you have on top.
There it is.
Oh, over
Here
here.
it is.
Okay.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or whatever?
No, what-
Comments or questions?
I have no comments, but I have a whatever.
Okay,
Okay. That was it.
that does not surprise me. That does not surprise me. All right, hearing nothing else. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion carries. We're now ready for item 7C, Heather O'Grady, which will be the fee schedule update.
So we did this last year. We're coming back because after we fill out our annual report, it tells us what our non-resident card should be. And what we upped it to last year is not meeting the recommended amount. So we're going to up it just a teensy bit higher than what they even say and hope that we don't have to do this again next year. It is, of course, based on our expenditures and our operating expenditure per capita. And the reasoning behind this, as we get more efficient with our spending and spend down as we should, the budget that we are afforded, that operating expenditure per capita has gone up. So the recommendation is to approve the updated fee schedule, changing the non-resident card to $90. And then it also updates the plaque card fee, which is set by the Indiana State Library. We do not have very many of these that are sold because generally what we do sell is the plaque card.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. That motion carries as well. Item number 7D, informational, which is the Indiana State Library final report.
So the state report was submitted on time. Rick and Scott both signed off on it and we sent that to the state library. It is as a document in board book. So if you really want to go through all the pages, you are more than welcome to. But some highlights are that our in-person visits were up over 15,000 from the year previous. Our computer use was also up over 6,500 uses. Our wireless use was up slightly. Our reference interactions were up slightly. Our physical collection circulation was up about, I didn't do this math and I should have 17,000, give or take. Digital collection, we didn't pull it out previously like that, but basically almost all of our statistics were up. Our card holders were up by over 8,000 new
Wow.
cards in last year. And our meeting room usage last year was 688,478 people that just used our free meeting rooms. Our statistics for programming were also up. We held 2,167 programs in the library last year with over 30,000 people attending those 2,000 programs. So a very, very good year for EVPL overall. And our statistics went up in almost every single category. And if they didn't go up, they were like right there.
How many card members did we have at the beginning of the year?
Oh, why'd you ask that specific question? Hold on, I got this. Actually, it's right here. We had at the end of 2024, 79,994 card holders.
So
And at the
10%
end of
increase?
2023, it was 71,789.
About 10% increase.
And I don't know why I'm remembering this, but we recently had a conversation, maybe it was the foundation or was it here? That when we rolled over to the new system, all of so that's even with a lot of card holders coming out.
Yes, so
So
from
we still-
22 to 23, we saw a decline because we basically just cleaned up old records when we migrated systems. So last year, we were fully, completely on that new system. This is pure good data and a growth of that much.
That's great. Any comments or questions about that? All right, we're ready for item number 7E. And for the viewers at home, this is part of the show you've been waiting for. This is Commodities Transportation Renewal, Information and Action.
Before I start the show, as you say, I would mention that if you would like to read through the entire Indiana State Library report, that it is on the board book under the documents folder, so.
Okay.
For your viewing pleasure.
All right.
How long is it?
It's pretty long. It's 80, 90 pages. It's pretty long.
Submission
But
is
you can
fine.
probably skip through your own addresses. Like that's all in there. You can get through that pretty quick, but
Throw it in Chat GPT and ask it to summarize.
that's
it.
right. Go right ahead. And I did include the one that has 2023's answers. So you can compare and contrast 2023 to 2024.
All right. Commodities Transportation Renewal.
So we're approaching the halfway mark again in our second one-year term, transport term with NRG Energy. For those who weren't on the board back then, Darla, we had, an opportunity to try to save some costs in our energy and our natural gas, expenditures in the year. So we had, the board approved going with this transportation, of natural gas, and it saves us money on the decatherm, the per decatherm that we expend. And so we signed a one-year contract. Last year, about the same time, our account executive came to us and said, hey, prices are going to go up because it's going to be a super hot summer. And we locked in a cheaper rate at that point in time for another one-year term. He did come to me last week and indicated that the near-term natural gas market is experiencing sharp price increases, as you can see in the memo that I sent out yesterday afternoon, because of that hot summer last year and because we actually had a winter in 2024, 2025. And because of that, the storage levels have been depleted or have decreased about 25% of what we normally would hold. And then on top of that, we have the outer term market experiencing fluctuations due to the storage shortages, plus as we continue to export out to Europe, in light of the fact that they're using United States and other entities instead of Russia at this point in time, those prices are increasing as well. And then potential tariffs might also affect these prices moving forward. So Mr. Kinchlow, who is our account executive, is advising clients to lock in current rates right now. And he also suggested that we consider a longer term instead of 1 year to look at the 3-year. And so on the memo, I listed out what the fixed price is per decatherm. And the New York index shows the cost in the 75-cent range. But that's also if we were to not have the what they call the 100% swing, in which basically anytime the market moves, we're covered because we have a fixed rate that covers that swing. If we went another direction and we chose what they called hedging, and for those of you who remember his very exciting presentation a couple of years ago, if you could follow that, we would have to have somebody full-time tracking what the market and those prices would be doing. And we don't have the staff to do that. So we would like to stay with the 100% swing. We would look at and recommend going to a 36-month fixed rate. That's less than $1 increase on the fixed price per decatherm. But you can see if we continued with 1 year, we'd continue to see those more fluctuations. And right now it's $1.39 more instead of the 90 cents more. So we are recommending that because of the market data and trends that we go with a three-year or 36-month term for the 100% swing coverage and lock in that rate of, now this is subject to change because this was as of Monday the 10th and it changes daily. But that fixed rate of the 36 months, which would be around 5.276 cents.
Ready to entertain a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
So right now we're paying about $4.30 a
Yes.
decatherm?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. What's the current fixed rate? 4.30?
And so whenever we notify them, we would lock in then. And if there's a variance off of the 5.27, you'll let the board know, or will we need to vote on it again?
So this vote would, in recommendation, is to whatever the fixed price is of the day, the market rate,
Okay,
the
not
day
for
that we
this.
sign it, yeah.
Just to clarify, this doesn't, when does this kick in? Immediately?
No, so we are locking it in for the new term, which will start October 1st.
We're locking it in today or tomorrow for.
Correct.
So we would still be paying the
4:30.
4:30 through the end of
which we
September.
had already negotiated previously. or
Correct.
Had a contract for previously.
Yes, correct.
But for instance, if we waited till August and by that time the market was $6, we'd have to lock in $6.
Correct.
I'm ready to vote.
So I don't know if this is a comment or a question. I don't know that I have a question in mind. It's just that my concern always is with 36-month on something like fuel prices and commodities is that you have some volatility for this first year and then that volatility shakes out and then it starts to go back down. And I understand that it's, it's an insurance policy to a certain extent, but I would appreciate, even though we are doing a 36-month, to have an annual update
Okay.
on where we are versus where the market is, just so we know about how,
How much we're saving or how much we're losing?
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a question in there, but I'd like to see that. So hearing no other questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
And we are now ready for staff spotlight and karaoke. We have,
Bonus. So the staff spotlight tonight is a 2-for-1. You have to get up and go to the.
all right.
Okay, so Allie is gonna go first and she'll introduce herself and her title.
Hello, my name's Allie Tucker. This is my 3rd week here at EVPL. I just started as the assistant librarian in programming, which means I work directly for Erica over there. My background before this was working in museum and art collections, as well as a plethora of food service. But otherwise, besides that, I'm excited to learn as much as I can from you all. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Welcome.
And now Marcus, who is also new.
As Heather said, my name is Marcus Mercer. I just started as the new administrative assistant. I work directly for Heather and Scott. I help them with all the different tasks and many things that they do. Grew up out in Nevada, moved to Virginia, and just came out here recently about 6 months ago. And just like Allie, very excited to continue learning and see where this career path goes. But thank you guys. Thank you for the opportunity to serve the community.
Yeah, welcome aboard to both of you. Now we're ready for announcements. Heather is standing in for Scott, who we wish to get well soon.
So the biggest announcement is that next Wednesday is our first True Speak author. I want to say our next because we had such a great turnout at the panel discussion regarding A Fever in the Heartland. But
Was
Timothy
great.
Egan will be here also at First Presbyterian next Wednesday. Please come down. It's going to be, I'm sure, a fantastic event.
Get there early.
Get there early.
Because it's gonna
We
be
had
packed.
153 people just at that panel discussion. So we are anticipating a good sized crowd, but we're very excited to host him. And just for future, right on his feet will be our April speaker as well. So just know they're coming fast and hard.
No seats
time.
left for
The reception.
yeah.
So we're out for this one, for this reception. Yeah, but
Okay.
we are still opening, there are tickets for the next ones, for the next receptions. So I think that's it. My other announcements would have been our state library. So I think we're doing pretty good there.
Any other announcements from the board or?
Do you want the facilities update formally in this? I know you had requested that. Okay.
All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All
Second.
right, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.